First point is everybody agrees that something haven't changed in them and something keeps changing. So when you are younger, you are small, and then you become adult, you become different, and now you are into different time zones, and you appear different, but have you changed? Means you change in appearance, but as a awareness, is there any change into you? Right?
Yeah.
Yeah, a lot changed.
Lot change outside, but there is something which is not changing inside you, right? So the
Inside,
awareness
inside the same.
inside the same. So from the science perspective, what we look at the integration of various modalities and approach to support them as the mind-body approach. So when we talk of myself or an individual, where I manifest, usually I manifest. So what health symbolizes is the equilibrium of all these four dimensions of life. So my mental self, my physical self, my emotional self, and then my spiritual self. Everybody is in agreement with that? And now, why you want to integrate as an individual? Because we want to maintain and improve quality of our life. Everybody agrees with that? So what is the optimal health? Is the balance of mind, body, emotions, and spirit, and also the social sphere. So the environment around us also is integral part of our well-being. And then that manifests when we are into that harmony. What happens is it automatically maintains and improve quality of our life. So we look at the mental piece. So why we have to approach mind body? Because we've been given everything what we need, right? So we've been given the body, we are given the intelligence, we have the emotions, variety of things. So if you look on the right side of the picture, so what you see on that picture, you see a man standing on a stack of ladders, and he wants to cross the wall. So to cross a wall, does he need that many ladders stacked up, or he need one ladder to climb? One is enough, right? So that's what happened to us. Many times we know a lot of ideas are there, and you know what is right for you, and we pile them up. We want to eat healthy, we want to exercise, we want to contribute something, we want to live for a cause, but in the end, this is what happens to us. It doesn't matter if we have resource or not, but what we need to know to have that wisdom, that how to use that to go to where we want to go. So now we look into the Vedas, the traditional approach. It talks about if you want to achieve the mental peace, what we need to gain control is our thoughts, and how we think we become, right? So we act on our thought, and then the repeated actions, they make our behavior, and then the repeated behaviors manifest into our nature. So if we act like type A person or impulsive person, what will happen? It all thoughts are fast paced, and there is a both ways. The Shankaracharya had given the message saying Charaivati, Charaivati means keep moving, keep moving. The person who sits, he is done. But same time, the person who also is running, you have to ask them. He asked the question, Kimarthe, Kimarthe means for what reason? For what reason? So what are you running for? Especially into the busy lives and the city lives, when we are into so much fast-paced activities, our minds are not settled. So you see people are driving and they're eating their sandwiches into the car. But now, in the way that Corona has changed dramatically a lot of things for us, so though it has a lot of consequences on negative side, a lot of good things also came out of that, which are positive and powerful messages. So people are now taking more time, they are eating proper, they're sleeping better, they're spending good quality time cultivating a lot of their hobbies, ideas. So that's all part of how we feel within. So yoga talks about contentment. Contentment is not just happiness, but even the more blissful states of consciousness. So what mind body, the core principle is very simple. So if you have calm mind, you have calm body. If you have calm body, you have calm mind. Everybody agrees with that?
Yes.
Right.
I
So
see many
how you
similarities.
achieve the calm mind then? What's the process? So there are these two schools of thought in existence for a long time. And that one talks about approaching this optimal balance either through mind, so mind over the matter. And the second one is opposite, where maybe you create the energy into the body and that helps to soothe the mind. So mind over the matter is the more accepted generic principle, which we all know. And medically, it also seems to have a lot of benefits to it. So it is mainly to also help for anxiety. These are some of the documented evidence out of these mind-body approaches. So let's have some experience. So now as we sit, it's early morning. For some, it's evening, those who are joining from other parts of the world. So our bodies are into different phases. So morning or noon or evening, how we got up, what's our mood as we got up. Some days we wake up and we are all fresh. We want to climb the mountains. Some days we wake up and you just want to take a little longer nap or stay lounging. So let's start. So sit up straight and both the palms right into the lap, and then take a deep breath. So close your eyes. And we are not doing anything but observing. So what to observe, I'm not going to tell you it. You decide. Whatever you see. And then once you feel ready, so breathe in. So slowly start rubbing the palms together. Locating the palms on our eyes. And then caressing whole of the face. Bring them down. And then to the arms, to the forearms, to the chest, in the back. And then go all the way to the toes. And then one more time rubbing the palms, passing them through whole of the face, very, very slow. And then gently open the eyes. Okay, so what was your experience? Change, no change, same?
Well, basically, I was trying to find my calm because I think it would have taken me a little time, but I was getting there.
You're almost there. Sushmaji, can I ask you one thing? So, why you think it takes us time to find that calm, or why we are not in that state all the time?
I think we have too many things on our mind. We are thinking of we have to do this, we have to do this, this. So things just keep going in our mind, and then when we try to sit down for meditation, those thoughts start coming, and somehow we have to just take control of those.
Very nice. Thanks for sharing.
Sachinji, what should I say? Whenever you do that, the mind really becomes calm and positive. So I have nothing to add more, and I do it every day whenever I get time.
Yeah, thank you. So, see the simple act of, we call it that close your eyes, open your mind. So now there are many ideas and techniques. So there are open eyes meditation, walking meditation, standing meditation. So all that leads to that one core idea of getting into that state. So now how you think, if I have a mechanism where I decide and like a switch into the room, I can turn my mind activity on and off. Now from yoga perspective and Vedic perspective, the mind has been divided into different segments also. So called as Mana, Buddhi, Chitta, Ahankar. That means the mind, intellect, and then the Ahankar is the ego. And the Chitta is a broader term of the mind where there is a deep awareness into the thing. Also, Ayurveda and yoga both talk about three gunas, or the three attributes. So those are the creation, maintenance, and destruction, which are the law of the nature, called as the Rajasic, Sattvic, and Tamasic. So our mind can be creative, our mind can be maintaining, and our mind can be also destructive. So now that destruction is not necessarily bad, that is called as tamas. So destruction of the ignorance, destruction of the darkness is a good thing, but it also has a mechanism of self-destruction. So when we don't make the right choices, when we are not in the good environments, it can lead to the deterioration of ourselves. Now the question comes, everybody is well dressed, and so do we clean the body every day? We decorate it, we have nice haircuts and nice jewelry, nice clothes. What about the mind? Any ideas? How we clean the mind?
I think, Dr. Sachin, to clean the mind, first thing after getting up, we should just close our eyes and we should predict for our day. Like, we should be calm. We should tell ourselves, okay, these are the things, and these things we need to do, but that we should not get panic. We should not get like whatever our tendencies are, according to that, and that's how we can just train our mind at the morning time. So I think that's how we can do that. I mean, this is what exactly I've learned from you, but I'm just
that's
sharing with people.
wonderful. Yeah, that's wonderful, because that's what we call it affirmations, right? So we
Yes.
take an idea and we repeat and repeat and repeat, and what we become? The idea.
Yes.
There is an old saying that if you drool with elephant, you become one. That means you may not be as big as elephant, but because elephant is big, he's swinging. But you are small, but then you are also swinging like elephant. So you'll be tired because you're not as big, so you don't have to do it. So finding the right idea of cleansing is very important. So like we saw the example of ladder, there are many options, always options. But what we choose for ourselves makes the difference. And how to choose that option, what we have to do to make a decision, any ideas? Why we choose what we do to be happy?
Like, as I said, like, if we don't have any tendency to do anything, and we want to get that change, so the first thing which will keep on working is to keep on doing without thinking. So then only it will become our habit. Is that what you're saying?
Yeah, so you brought the right point, is that we always have the choice. And once we make the choice, nothing can stop us, because it's all internal. So outside things, we don't have any control. But the inside things, we obviously surely have a lot of control. And that's what we work for. So the inner environment versus the outer environment. So question is, we already discussed how to clean the mind. Any ideas? So anybody want to share any ideas? We already busted the idea, one idea what it is.
Sachin bhai,
Yes.
whatever you had, good thoughts, keep
Right.
keep chewing those thoughts, and that's
Keep
how we
doing this.
clean. That's good thoughts, whatever you really liked, and
Right.
uplifted you. You keep chewing that, just the way you eat something, like a cow.
Right.
Cow sits there, and I don't know how to write
Yes.
the word, right
Yeah.
word.
It rechew the what it ate before and process the food later.
Right.
Right.
So you think, and I think that's how the brain gets clean, mind gets clean rather.
But now, Aruna, so what is good in your opinion is bad in other person's opinion.
Oh, well.
So how to come to a common ground? Like you say the the wheat is good or barley is good, and somebody says you never eat barley. So who is right?
Oh, well.
So the Ayurveda
That's
has
a
an
good
answer to it.
question.
Yeah. So the Ayurveda has an answer to it, that you go to the universal ideas. So grass is green everywhere, right? There is no like American
Yeah.
grass is blue and German is red and Indian is green. Nothing like that, right? Grass is grass. So the same way, our consciousness is consciousness. It's deep. And when we go to the root origin of who we are, to our thought, our existence, our sense of being. Why we call human being? What is being means?
Being means soul.
Yeah, being
Atma.
means soul. Atman.
Atma.
So Atman means awareness.
Awareness, yeah.
Awareness. So the awareness, the person who is aware of him or her, in the sense, without even making any differences, is already into the state of what? Samadhi is a perfect state of awareness where the universal consciousness is my consciousness. And then, even if I inculcate the idea, oh, I have to think right, and then I have to do this right, or I have to control my mind, I don't want to have any thoughts. What happens is I practice and I practice. After a while, I'm stuck with one thought in my mind, is not to think anything. Now, how to get rid of that thought?
That is the body's consciousness thinking, not our soul. We can think only this thing.
Right. So the outward, so very nice, Purnima. So the outward activities, they are like the ripples of the stream. So if you look at the stream is moving faster. There is a lot of sound on the surface, but in the bottom of the creek, the bed is very calm and serene. So the same way, when we don't fall into that Maya, the veil of that outward activities, what we see, what we believe. So we believe what we see, perceive through our senses. But then when we tune in into the process where we know the truth, and that truth is where? In not what we see and perceive, but the truth is within us. And what we have to do to find it? Nothing. If we throw the paper from the 10-story building, what happens to the paper?
Down.
Down.
It will come down.
It comes down. If you throw the stone, it will also come down. Stone is heavy, so it will be faster. Paper will take a little longer to reach there. So same thing, that state, what we call it, transcendental state. So rather than just browsing into the upper levels of life, what we do is we straight dive into the core. And once we dive into the core, what we have to do? Nothing. So if I ask you, different people, what are you doing? What are you doing since morning? What happens to you? You're thinking, you're eating, you're reading, you're walking, you're cooking, you're gardening, you're painting, you're calling somebody. And all these are good things, nothing wrong with it. But is there any time in our life where we do nothing? Now, when I work with teenagers, they say, please call my mom and tell her I am always meditating because I'm not doing anything. So that's not the way what non-doing means. Non-doing is completely full at rest, but we are fully awake as energy, and same time we are fully rested. So transcendental state, what we call it as restful alertness. Now Maharshi, one of my mentors, used to say that the humans are free. They can do what they want. Yes or no?
Mhm.
They can go anywhere. They go under
Yeah.
the ocean, on the top, everywhere.
Yes.
But every action we take, karma, has a consequence to it. You get a reward out of that. So what's that? So if a human says, I want to eat sand, can you stop him? No, you say the humans don't eat sand, but if they eat the sand, what will happen to them? The stomach will hurt because it's not their food. So the consequence comes. So each action we take, we get either cumulative setback for it, or we get instant setback for it. And that's how these different ideas you hear, they're essentially based on this particular law of nature, which we all know. So when we make the wrong choices, why we make the wrong choices? Because our senses are pulling us. But when we are fully awake and fully integrated, what happens? Will there be any negative consequence of that? Because there is no action, there is no reaction. That's the law of nature, right? Law of physics. Now there is this old story. The story is very simple. It goes that the humans forgot who they are and they started doing random things. So all the gods got upset, saying, you have given the humans as equal status as we are, divineness, and they have forgotten and they're doing mean things and take their divinity away till they wake up. And the god said, okay, what can we do? It's the head of the god. And he said, but where will we hide it? The humans are very active, so they will try to find it the moment they lose it. So value of things we only get when we don't have them or when we lose them. And that's true for health and that's true for happiness. But when we have them, the value for us is zero. So as soon you take away the divinity from humans, they will start looking for it. So where should we hide it? So they said under the ocean. They said, no, he will dive into the ocean, find it. Let's put on the high mountain. No, he will go there and find it. Let's put under the ground. No, they will dig it out, mine it and find it. So the god said, we give up. And the head god, the Indra, he said, I know a space where humans never look. And that's the secret, but I will tell you. And that space is their hearts. So let's put divinity in their hearts and don't tell them. And that's it. So that's exactly what happens. We find all the true potential called as creative intelligence in science terms right within ourselves. And what we have to do to find it? Listen. Somebody asked one time to my grandfather, is there any God? And is he listening to me? I'm telling him so many things. Seems like it doesn't make sense because he haven't listened anything what I said. And my grandfather said to her, God is there, he is listening, but are you listening to the God? So the nature is our God. It's telling us so many things Our body is telling us so many things. Our bodies are tired and we drag ourselves, or our mind is tired and we don't give it the right food, right stimulus, media, negativity. All these type of things are detrimental for us. Makes sense? But then when we have nice music and then we just take a moment, close eyes, and what happened to us? We suddenly become divine, right? We are master of everything what we own. And we know the body is not our own, but what is our own is our awareness, the sense of being. So that's the simple idea. First thing is we take time to know who we are. Second thing, we take time to rest our mind. And the third thing we can do is to balance our mind. So unless I know what it is, how can I give it rest or support it? And how can I clean it also, right? So this is a beautiful slide from Mayo Clinic on the research on different types of meditations. And as you see that when we just concentrate on things, we have a beta waves which are not as good in the sense. It requires strong effort also. So when we are doing the problem solving or logical thinking, that's the state we are doing for concentration or focus. Now, the meditation styles can be basically, we can group them into 3 categories for our understanding. And second one is the mindfulness or the monitoring of the thoughts or observations. It requires moderate effort because I'm telling myself, I am good, I am light, I am kind, I am compassion, and that creates the theta waves, and it creates a dreamlike state. So you feel calmer, you feel good, but you're still not optimal. And then the transcendental state is effortless, and you see the alpha waves and relaxed and happy focus feeling. So now the meditation has a lot of benefits. This is the advice from the 3 Silicon Valley's yogis. So we created this slide to tell you the type good, like good, and share good, because it's all the time of medias nowadays, right? So the Gandhiji's monkeys, I transformed them without his permission, I guess, to show it into the new format of Silicon Valley monkeys. So at least that's a good start. So if you are on media, spend time in sharing good things. It's just a humor. This is from Swami Yogananda, where he said, just practicing yoga poses just an exercise or meditation just for relaxation is like building a new beautiful home and living on the porch. So Maharshi also used to share a story where he said, all of us, we live in a house, and then we like the library if you're a reader, or if you're a good cook, you like the kitchen. If you don't like to do anything, you sleep in the bed. Or if you like the garden, you spend time outdoors. But then you have a house which had 100 rooms, and the 99 rooms, they remain unexplored, because as a human, though we are human, we are still animals. So we live into 6x3 space. So there are a lot of interesting stories. We cherish that idea. And what we do is, in the sense, we take time when we become more aware of our own abilities, we suddenly start using all those abilities at once. Many times we see some people are very good into the vision. Some people are very good into the hearing skills. Some are very sensitive to touch, and some are very sensitive to smell. But when is all the 5 senses, they work in coherence, things change dramatically. So this is what science shows us, that when we reach into the transcendental states, what happens to our breath? Automatically natural rolling of the breath. And then also the breath starts getting slower and slower. And that's what exactly yoga defines the samadhi states, where you almost forget to breathe. And your metabolism is so slow that the demand on our body is also less. And that translates into getting into the deep state. This is how it shows that the activity into the brain, so that when we do the reach to that state, you see the front of the brain called as prefrontal cortex has the highest activity, and that's the CEO of our brain. The back side of the brain has lower functions, and you see the lower activity there. That's the definition of transcendence from Maharshi. He said any system that does transcend its emotional, intellectual, or perceptual activity will be transcendental meditation. So simple definition, nothing complex. So you see how that happens just after you start, when you close your eyes. That's the state after 5 seconds. And you see the alpha waves into the transcendence. The whole brain is connected. And what we see, all those are the EEG leads, how the brain activity is measured. You see the whole brain is awake. So that's the what science teaches us, what's the outcome of what we do. We can see it visually. And after we see that visually, if we don't want to make the change, then we need some support into that. So that brings us to the main idea, that how simple it is. A flower needs what? A vase, a good environment. Now the flower color is red and the vase is color matches or not, it's not agree with it, it will make a difference, right? Then also, now if the color of the flower and the vase matches, the location of that vase in the room also will matter. Yes or no? So if you leave it in the living room, will be seen by many. And if you don't, now in the living room, if you leave it in the corner, what will happen? People may not be able to see it, but if it's a nice fragrant flower, can you see the aroma? When people walk in, can they smell and they say, it smells so good, the lavender or the rose is there. So qualities of us are not just one idea. They manifest into different forms, and then our presence become a powerful entity. So that's all I want to share. So we shared a lot of different ideas on just touch and go, so that you see the depth of the subject. We talked about the Vedic idea, we talked about the yogic idea, 3 gunas, the 3 attributes, the creation, maintenance, destruction, then the intellect, and then the mind, and then also ego, and the chitta. Chitta is the broader awareness and mind. Then we also talked about the different states of consciousness, just the focus versus the open monitoring observation, or the transcendence, which is the restful alertness state. We also talked about that something which doesn't change in us, but something which changes over a period of time, and how to be aware and in tune with that process. We also see the benefits of what we think and do into our own being. And also we talked about health and happiness as the prior goals for us, and how to achieve them by doing nothing.